afternoon, early evening, Rip City. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Welcome in to Courtside Monday. Talking a little bit of Blazer basketball here as the season winds down. It is Monday, and we are officially in our final week of the Trail Blazers basketball season. You got a game on Wednesday at Utah, final road game of the year, and then home on Friday and Sunday versus the Warriors and Lakers, respectively, to wind it all down. And you know what? It's unfortunate, but it's guaranteed that those are the last games of the year because with a Sacramento win the other night, the Blazers were officially eliminated from the play-in. So, man, the hopes are gone. But as we've talked about, man, if you would have told me, it would have took until 3 games left, game 79 of the year before you said that the Blazers were officially eliminated. Boy, howdy, I would have thought you were lying, but here we are. And the other things we can watch tonight too, because right now got Houston and Florida going at it for a national championship. And it is kind of funny because you look up at the broadcast a second ago, there was just a Cooper Flag commercial. Not awkward at all since, Houston bounced them out of the Final Four with an impressive comeback victory. We'll see how the Cougars can fare against the Gators here tonight. And you never know. Maybe you're watching a future Trailblazer up there right now. You just don't know it. We shall see. But I'll tell you who is guaranteed to be a future Trailblazer employee. That is General Manager Joe Cronin, because there was some breaking news this morning that the team had agreed. There you go. That's right. Applause. The team had agreed to a multi-year contract extension with the general manager. And it's interesting because you look at social media and you know what? He's a polarizing fella. There are teams or players and fans who like him. There are fans who don't like him. And it becomes a debate. But I find it interesting, man, because I was talking to some people and it's like, I don't know why. People will get mad. Well, I don't like what he did here in the draft. I don't like what he did in this trade. People want a general manager who does the impossible. They want a general manager who does not exist. They want a general manager who never loses a trade, who never undersells any of his assets just to get off of them, who never misses in the draft, who only drafts the right player every single time. That's what fans want. But that person does not exist. Every single GM has misses. Every single GM has undersold on a trade before to get out from it. So you could sit there and you could be mad. Now there are GMs out there who miss, and they don't retain their job for very long. But you look at Joe Cronin, you could talk about the misses. I know there's plenty of people who didn't like the Norm Powell and Robert Covington trade when it happened because it was just a salary dump. They didn't get much in return. I got into arguments with many a fan at the time because I claimed that Robert Covington wasn't even an NBA starter anymore. Oh, BS, he's not. I'm like, Robert Covington is my favorite player in the NBA, and I'm telling you this.
So basically, Chris, what you're saying is fans are looking for the modern version of Red Auerbach.
Yeah, that.
Just 11 titles, I'm being facetious, of course, but no, I just quickly wanted to throw my thoughts on there because first thing I did when I saw the Shams bomb was just go to the X comments, Chris.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know exactly who it was. I think it was one of our typical Blazer accounts that we've seen in circulation. Posted a comment like, "This is awesome. Waiting to see the Miami fans blow up this." And I kid you not,
Rent
man.
free.
To Chris's point, a lot of Miami fans still a little upset over their Cheerios. I'll tell you that much.
But it is like but that's just the thing. That's what they want out of a GM. So you can sit here and you can look at the negatives. That's one of them. People don't like the roster dump. Again, Robert Covington didn't end up being very good for the Clippers, and he's not much right now. Norm Powell, he's pretty good, but whatever. It is what it is. But you can sit there and you can look at the victories too, right? He goes out and he gets Tumani thrown in the deal. He does the Denny Avdia trade. Scoot, Shea, and Klingon look pretty good. There's things to like. It's not as if it's been all bad. And I was talking about this with Chad a little bit earlier about that. I kind of like the fact that they just said, you know what? We have confidence in you. We're going to sign you up. Now go get the job done, right? Now you could have done it the other way. You could have said your entire job depends on getting the job done, right? You could have done that, but they said, you know what? We trust you. We have confidence in you. Now you can go do it. And the best part is about all this, the best part about all of it is that it doesn't really matter because you know what? You could back up the Brinks truck. You could say you're going to give Joe Cronin $150 million a year. That still shows up as a big fat zero on your salary cap number, right? So if he doesn't get the job done, and 12 months from now you're like, you know what, we're gonna let go, he can let go. It's not as if this money is tied to him and it's salary cap numbers that you can't get back. And now having him on means you can't sign players. No, it doesn't mean that. It does not mean that. It just means that they showed a little bit of confidence in him moving forward. And again, I like that. I also think you got to respect the story of Joe Cronin. Right? He's been with this organization for, approaching 2 decades, right? Like that's nice. That's important, right? I think you want to build that communication with him and Mike Schmitz. Mike Schmitz has been great. He's gone and got Mike Schmitz guys, So I like the move here. I don't worry about the money involved with it because it doesn't matter. I like the fact that they said, hey, this is our guy and we want to build. Also, like you can sit there and go, oh, I don't like him. Okay, but where's the free agent pool of general managers that everyone knows? It's like when everyone's like, oh, I really like this assistant coach. Why? Can you tell me what they do well? Like, it's tough. It's tough. Now you got people that you like. People would have liked Danny Ainge back when they had a moment, right? Didn't even talk to him, didn't offer him. But again, Joe Cronin, he's got some misses. But he's got some hits. He's got some home runs, man.
It was pretty coincidental, Chris. I mean, I think at the time, I think you can remember too, because everyone thought Danny Ainge was walking away from basketball, retiring. That's how, and then it's a week later, I'll be the alternate governor for the Jazz. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because in hindsight, people were afraid. People didn't want Danny Ainge because they knew that Danny Ainge will come in and clean house. They didn't want Danny Ainge to trade Damian Lillard. Oh, if you sign Danny Ainge, he's just going to come in and trade Dame. Guess what? So did Joe. It is what it is. But again, we'll see where this goes. The offseason is still massively important, right? Massively important. We'll see where they go with that. They still got players to move, still got rosters to figure out. You still got things to build. But I can tell you this, you're definitely seeing the roster that Joe Cronin wants. Tall guys, versatile guys who can play multiple positions offensively, guys who can guard multiple positions defensively, right? I think that is something that's at play here, and you're going to continue to see that play out. Now, it's like I told Chad earlier, I do want to see what happens in the offseason because I want to see Joe Cronin get his coach, right? You got a Joe Cronin roster and a Neil Olshey coach. And if Joe Cronin truly thinks that Chauncey's the guy, then that's fine. Like, he truly believes it. But if he thinks that someone else is, I want to see Joe Cronin go get that guy that he think is it. Now, there's going to be intrigue here, and this leads into a question we got from Kirk right now on the YouTube chat. If you want to get in on the conversation, 503-248-0620 is one way to do it. You can also go to youtube.com, type in your questions and comments there. He says, what do you think of Memphis head coach who got fired? Yeah, I like Taylor Jenkins. I like Taylor Jenkins a lot. Do I think Taylor Jenkins could get a lot out of this roster? You're darn right I think he could. Do I think Taylor Jenkins in the vacuum is a better coach than Chauncey Billups? I do. I have always liked Taylor Jenkins, right? Interestingly enough, their assistant coach over there is, I cannot pronounce his name, Tomas Isalo? I butchered that, and I apologize. But he's a coach who a lot of people thought was going to covet a lot of interest in the offseason in Memphis. Some people speculate this Memphis pulled the trigger so they could just give him the interim spot and then give him the deal and not have to worry about a team trying to pry him, right? And Taylor Jenkins is interesting because Taylor Jenkins, everyone's is okay, well, it's the offense, and so this and that, and then you're starting to slowly get Jaw really didn't like the fact that he went away from this and he didn't do that. Didn't run the pick and roll enough so I could go to the basket and dunk, despite the fact I told everyone I was going to stop dunking, right? But to answer your question again, Kirk, what do I think about Taylor Jenkins? I really like Taylor Jenkins. I think he's going to waste no time landing on his feet. I would love for him to be in Portland. We'll see where they go because currently your Blazers do not have a head coach opening. Okay. Say what you will. I'm not advocating for I got to fire this man just to bring this guy in right now. I'm not going there. But again, if that's what the team decides to do and they decide to open that spot up and they decide to go for a full coaching hunt, you bet your tail that Taylor Jenkins probably at the top of that list. The only unfortunate part about that is that any other team that fires their coach, Taylor Jenkins just might be at the top of that list, right? He just might be at the top of that list, but he's proven he's ready to go. I think he's proven, obviously, there in Memphis that he can take a young team and mold some guys as long as, the character's there and the will and the want to. I mean, Ja, man, we've talked about this ad nauseum. He can't get out of his own way. Like all these people who are like, oh, a couple other players made the gun gesture too. How come they're not getting fined like he is? Because not all those players were told not to do it, given a slap on the wrist, and then did it again less than 24 hours later, right? They gave the exact same warning that they gave to Ja Morant. They gave the exact same warning to Buddy Hield, right? Because he did the gun gesture in that game to Ja. They were doing it back and forth. But guess who did not do that gesture the same day that it was announced that he got the slap on the wrist? Buddy Hield. Okay? Sometimes you got to just get out of your own way. Ja Morant, decision-making, Ja Morant, basketball player, yeah, sign me up. Ja Morant's great. Ja Morant's phenomenal. Ja Morant just makes some interesting decisions. Ja Morant sounds like may have butted heads with the head coach. At least that's the story. So, you know what? Maybe Taylor Jenkins wasn't all the problem. And again, if he's available and you can go get him, I would get him in a minute. Maybe you get Taylor Jenkins and then, hey, Mike Brown, you want to be an assistant coach again? I know you've gone the head coach, assistant coach back and forth, the jumpity jump. Come on, have some fun. Still plenty to see what happens there, right? Where they go, who they bring in, what they do. All I know is that we know that it's definitely Joe Cronin who's going to be pulling those strings. And I like that. I like the fact that they gave him a vote of confidence. I totally understand it, that he has made some bad moves and made some mistakes. But that's what GMs do, man. If GMs hit all the time, or if there is even one who hit all the time, yeah, you just have a team that was just stacked, loaded. Go through any draft. How many misses are there? Go through coaching hires. How many misses are there? We'll see. We'll see what he can do. I still think a lot rides on this offseason. A lot. Because if you go into November and you still got one of the trio, right? If you still got Ant, Robert, Jeremy Grant on this roster, I think there's an exception to be made for DA at this point because A, you're going to need center depth, whether he's starting or playing behind Klingon for a minute, and B, you need the money. I think there's a case to be made. But if you still have those other guys on the roster, boy howdy, is that going to be an interesting question or an interesting conversation to have. Kirk says too, and Denny saved his bacon. The reason I hate that argument, Kirk, is because that's the argument with every single great, right? Like how many coaches are on the firing block and then a player saves their bacon? It's never that the coach or the GM made the right move to get the guy in here who could play good. It's he just got this random guy who ended up being really good and it saved his job. Or maybe he saw that in those guys and that's why he wanted to get them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying you're wrong, Kirk. Just the argument that people make all the time. Oh, yeah, this guy was about to get fired and so-and-so saved his bacon because he had big games. Or he just coached him right. Either way, we'll see what happens. This is Courtside Monday. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Also go to youtube.com, like my man Kirk. You're like, who's Kirk he keeps talking about? He's the guy holding it down in the chat, asking me the questions, sending me comments. I love it. Go join him in there. YouTube.com, type in Rip City Radio. And, of course, Chris J. Burkhardt is the name on social media. We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what went down against San Antonio, what to look for the next 3 games as the season pulls into the station, and we put a bow on 2024-2025. Again, your Blazers eliminated from the play-in. There's still plenty to play for, though, in these last 3 games. Some of it tangible, some of it not. We'll talk about it when we return on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. over there in the national title game, Houston with an early 21-18 lead over Florida. And Brendan asks, he's like, Chris, are we legit older than that Florida head coach? He looks like he's 20. Nah, Todd Golden, very young, spry, 39.
So
He's got me beat by a year.
Yeah, there's only one other time, Chris, that I've ever, or actually two, that I felt that way. And I think, clearly, 39, he's a little older than I thought when I first saw him, because I legitimately hadn't looked. But there's only two other coaches that I thought, holy cow, like, how old are you? Brad Stevens at Butler. I mean, I don't think Brad Stevens was a day over, 35 when he was with Butler. And then, Tony Bennett when he was with Washington State before he went to Virginia. Same kind of thing where it's like, darn, who's that young up-and-coming coach, man? So got to hand it to him. Little sidebar, but that was Coach Ages with Brendan and Chris.
Well, hey, I am 4 years older than Kenny Dillingham. So Kenny Dillingham's only 34.
He is so young. And you think, what, he's been head coach for 2 years? He was, 32 when he got hired? I mean, that's nuts.
Zach Kitley at Florida Atlantic is 33, the youngest coach in D1.
Yeah, I like to hear those stories, man. Sometimes it's great, sometimes not so great, but, man, it's cool.
That's wild. That is wild. It used to be like, yeah, can't get a head coach job until you're 70, right? That's weird. Good on them. Good on them. Hustlers, man. But anyway, before we get back to basketball, I was having this conversation with Brendan. You guys chime in on the phone or on YouTube over there if you guys have found all this, okay? So I have been getting unsolicited phone calls lately, and I do not know why, from so-and-so financial talking about my unsecured $50,000 loan that, there's still time for me to sign up and get it. Yeah, okay, well, not falling for that scam. Thanks. Okay, but they're just coming in nonstop. And so I started taking a couple of screenshots because I realized they're not trying anymore. And what I mean by that is I got one a couple days ago, and they leave a voice. They call, leave a voicemail before go to voicemail. Hang up, go to voicemail. And it gets a transcript, right? Because your voicemail grabs a transcript. So this voicemail says, hello and happy Thursday. This is Natalie Portman from True Horizon Financial. Okay? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, that's probably that could be a coincidence, right? Natalie Portman. There's got to be someone named Natalie Portman out of there. That's funny. But then I got another call this morning, Brendan, and said, hi, this is Tom Holland from Prime.
Yeah, that one was nuts.
Okay. There's not two random people working at this financial institution who have the name of celebrities. No. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, they are not trying. They're just going straight like, okay, so who's next? Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds from True Financial. Hi, I'm Toby Maguire. Like, what are we doing? Hi, Sydney Sweeney here. Can I help you get your unsecured loan? What are we doing here? Not falling for that one. No bait on the hook. And if there were, I ain't biting. I'm well fed. I don't need it. Does just crack me up, though, Brendan. Absolutely cracks me up. All right, back to the Blazers, though. And if you're on the line, I'll get to you in just a sec. But I want to talk about what's going to go down now. We're in the last week. We are in the last week. The season ends on Sunday. Sunday. Los Angeles Lakers, 12:30 tip-off, early afternoon, and then it's done. Joe Cronin will talk to the media after the game as per the press release today. We'll talk to him about obviously what the future holds and his contract extension. If there's any coaching news, because who knows, the NBA is crazy, right? You might have coaching news right then and there. But regardless, there's just 3 games left on the road at Utah, home against Golden State, home against LA. So what to expect over these last 3 games? There is no more play-in to play for, right? You saw Sacramento get the win the other night. That's when they pulled the guys in Chicago. Like, yep, mathematically we're done. That was proven the next game when Sacramento beat Cleveland, and it was like officially, yep, there you go. Mathematically done, eliminated. The E is next to you in the standings, right? And Sacramento wanted that win. You know how bad they wanted that win over Cleveland? Every single one of their starters played 40 or more minutes, right? Right? They wanted it. They wanted it. And so now you got the Blazers, no play-in to play for. You looked at the game last night was huge because the loser of that game was the winner of that game because the Tankathon standings, right? Winner of that game probably had a pretty good grasp on the 8th seed. San Antonio loses it, so now there is a 2.5 game gap between the two teams for that 8th seed. So Portland's probably locked in the 9th, unless they lose the next 3, which could happen because 2 of those games are going to be real tough. But you're looking at the 9th seed, probably not going to go anywhere else. So now what you got to play for, right? Got to play for next season. What I mean by that, see what you got in Chris. See what you got in Shea. See what you got in DC. Just let them cook. You know what? Maybe you don't see Tumani again. Maybe you don't see Denny again. But if you want to see these young guys, let them roll. You lose a game, that's fine. And you know what? Might be beneficial to not roll Denny and 2 out there because, again, you look at those Tankathon standings, Miami's tied with you right now, or as a half game behind you right now with Phoenix. Like, okay, they're right on your tail. Chicago is 20.5, so they're a game and a half. Might be beneficial to just go over the rest of the way. Best way to do that? Yeah, put some of those players out there who aren't the top end of your roster, but can definitely make you think and rethink what you're going to do in the offseason, or let you know what you have when it comes to traded pieces, what you have that you want to keep in that locker room, what you have you want to keep on the floor. Like I said, Chris Murray has shown some stuff. Jabari has shown some stuff. What do you do with them? You know, showcase a little bit. But still, I think get DC out there. Even Shea, I would love to get Scoot back for at least a game and just let the young guys go out there. Like, if you've been in the league for three or more, okay, so I want to get Shea out there. Okay, if you've been in the league for 4 years, you do not get to play. You do not get to play. Is it too late to sign someone to a 3-game contract? Because can we do that? There's got to be someone out there. You know what I'm saying? All right. So that's why I want to see these next 3 games. And then that's going to lead into the offseason, which, again, it's going to be a hugely important offseason. Absolutely. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. On YouTube, Kirk chimes in. He says, I hate when Ron Jeremy calls for the wife. See? They're not even trying with these famous people names. Like, come on. I feel like that's more of a name we shall not speak. Like, nice try, though. Nice try. I'm trying to think, just what are we? Tom Holland and Natalie Portman. Tom Holland and Natalie Portman. Chris Hemsworth here. Got a financial loan for you to come get. What? What are we doing? What are we doing? All right, let's go out to the phone lines, Brendan, where we got Victor calling in. It's not even game day, and Victor's calling in. Welcome into Courtside. Victor, what do you got today?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your time. I don't know if you're on the same page, I was never in support of firing a coach because of the, some superstars as well. I want to dunk the, more than anything else, or do this or do that. Besides, the other countries which I'm from, they are very different. Well, I mean, we cannot argue with that. But in America, it looks like everybody can get away from something. But in overseas, you can never fire a coach because of superstar. Even in soccer, which is very popular over there, you never heard that they fire a coach because Messi, said, well, I'm a superstar and I don't like this coach. But in America, a lot of things happen that people, they get away from it, and they like it. But I don't know if we are on the same page. I think you mentioned about that coaching problem, but I don't approve the firing a coach, especially the Memphis Grizzlies, very good coach, because of John Morant or something. That's kind of a disturbing. That's one thing. The other thing I want to tell you, Chris, this afternoon, Godfather came with Chad. They were talking about all this improvement, that the Blazers, all this Shea and, Avia and the other guys, they have a lot of improvement. But, the Godfather said, well, he's not totally approved. He has to see more next year. Not because of Avia. Avia, as you said, he might be an alpha man. But the other players, even he said he wants to see more of Shea, more of this. But what I want to ask you, Chris, what do you think? Right now the real point guard. Chris, the Ant Simon didn't play for a lot of games. He was on the bench for a lot of games, and Scoot was playing, a lot of time. But what I'm saying is, if you want to get rid of Ant, what is the really true point guard? I mean, I know you said, well, he might be a Scoot, but if we don't want to tank the next year, we want to be in a playoff. Do you think the Ant he's a better player right now as a point guard, or we can get better than him?
Well, thanks for the call, Victor. And I think Ant's good. I think Ant will probably be traded. And I think if you trust that Scoot's the guy, you give him the keys, my man. You drafted him number 3 overall. He's shown great improvements this year. I think he's a better facilitator and setup man than Ant. And you put that around guys who can shoot like Shea and Denny, get a good pick and roll going. I think you can get a lot out of him. And you know what? It's not a knock on Ant. Like, Ant's good too, right? Like, we all like Ant, but I think it's time to go. And then you still got Denny right there who can run the offense for you. You can hit the free agency market and maybe get another vet backup guard. I mean, look at a guy like, I'm not saying this is the guy you go get. I'm just throwing the name out there. But like, you look at what TJ McConnell has done for his career in Philly and in Indiana. It's just been a great backup point guard, right? Maybe you can sit there and see a guy like Peyton Pritchard, who
I was going to say him.
Boston is stacked, right? They're stacked with talent. They're going to have to move off some things eventually. I mean, maybe you get some going in there. Bring Wes Lynn's kid home, who's been absolutely phenomenal and torches you every time they play. Go do that, and then I think you're going to be just fine. But you got to get off of Ant right now because Ant's had a pretty bad year. I think people still covet him, but I think you can use him as more of a scorer, as your 2 guard, however you want to do it. And I think it makes sense to just see what you can get from him and see where he can go. It's a good question. And we'll see what happens. Maybe they think that Scoot's not it, and then they keep Ant, and that's fine too. But you got to make a decision, man. You can't have both those guys. All right, let's take a road trip, shall we? We're going way east of the mountains.
Chris's neck of the woods.
My neck of the woods.
Hey, man, I'm just saying your OSA travel.
Hey, my OSA travels did take me to Baker City and Pendleton. I had to drive to Hermiston Country where Pat's tuning in. Pat, welcome into Courtside. What do you got for us today?
Hey, we got to get one more win.
We do.
Beat LA. You always beat LA. Ruin their season, but the other thing Chad was talking, or I think it was Chad, I've listened to a lot of radio today, that Tamani played the last game to kind of get a little bit more notoriety for that Defensive Player of the Year. Well, Denny against Luka. I mean, let's see if Denny is Luka light or if Denny's his own beast. Let's see, give Tamani a little bit of chance to shut somebody down. Give Shaden a chance to say, I'm the next coming of the guy that's going to take games over. Give them something to play for that also helps their personal brands and the team brand. Go 1-2. I don't think we're going to lose that 9th spot by doing that.
Well, Pat, thanks for the call. And you know what? I think you're right. I think you go 1-2, you're probably not going to lose it. And you know what? If you could pick one, like if you could pick one game to win, it's obviously the Laker game, like you said, because that's what me and Chad were talking about on the Risky Drive earlier. It was like, if you got nothing else to play for, go play spoiler, because that last game of the year, the Lakers are going to be playing for playoff seeding, right? You look at the seeding right now, everybody, and right now, the Lakers are the 3rd team in the Western Conference. They're 16 games back. They're not catching Oklahoma City. They're not catching Houston for 2. But they only have a 1.5 game lead over Denver, a 2-game lead over the Clippers, 3-game lead over the Warriors. Things are a 2-game lead over the Warriors. Things are trying to separate themselves. They're trying to, but they're not. So all the way down to the wire, these teams are going to have something to play for. So the Lakers might very well come into Moda Center going, okay, we win, we're the 3rd seed. We lose, we might drop down all the way to the 8th, because seriously, 2 games is what separates the 3rd seed Lakers and the 8th seed Grizzlies right now. So you got plenty to play for. So why not? You know what? Don't play Denny in 2 on Wednesday in Utah. Don't play Denny in 2 on Friday against Golden State. but you roll out your healthy lineup on Sunday against the Lakers. And like I said, Pat, it's Fan Appreciation Day. It is Fan Appreciation Day. Everyone's going to get the special Rip City cups to add to their glass collection, right? You got Donovan Clingan and Sharp and Scoot. And now you got one that is for Rip City, right? And now go in there, play spoiler. And like you said, if you want to get a little bit of extra push for that Defensive Player of the Year, you know what? Go out there and play your heart out against LeBron, because everybody's going to be watching and people are going to take notice. And yes, please, we want to see it. We didn't see Luka when he came to town the first time around with the Lakers. Yeah, give me a little bit of a matchup to end the season. Luka and Luka Light, or just Denny. Make your own name, man. But I'll tell you what, they play similar. Now, I know that, no, I'm not making that comparison. Denny is not Luka, at least not yet. You never know what could happen, but I want to see it. So, Pat, you're definitely on to something. And if you said you've been listening to a lot of radio, we appreciate the way you're driving around Eastern Oregon. You're tuning in to Rip City Radio and calling in, man. So thank you for that. And yeah, if you're going to go 1-2, why not? Now, I want to bring Brendan in here, because I think it takes a lot to get a Beaver to light up when you mention a Duck. But man, you perked up when I mentioned Peyton Pritchard.
Oh, I love that kid. He is so. And again, Chris, if it was not the Blazers chasing this play-in berth for what we've known for the better part of a couple months, that they, since the big turn before the All-Star break, that, and going into those games that I filled in for you were Boston and Oklahoma City. And at the time, it was like, hey, can the Blazers beat a marquee team and kind of have it be their coming out party, so to speak, as far as it's like, hey, look, we're not the pushover we were at times at the beginning of the season. We have come a long way. And, Chris, I still feel like I'm having nightmares of Peyton Pritchard and his 10 threes that game.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you, respectfully, straight up, just, I wasn't familiar with your game, Peyton. I knew he was a good player. I didn't know he was a sniper, man. And I don't know if he ended up setting the bench record for three-pointers this year, but I sure hope he does.
Yeah, I believe he did.
Yeah, so there you go.
Now, go get us go get a Duck, man. We got a couple Beaver guards in here. It hasn't worked out very well. Sorry, GP. I wanted him to work out well.
We all did.
Remember how I said GMs have hits and misses? Yeah, well, that was a miss. You know how, I'll tell you what, though, radio people have hits and misses too, because I was on it. I was like, this is exactly what they need. A versatile guard. He can play really good defense, or he can play you for a payday, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors ended up taking the rest of the contract, so, all's fair. But, man, he still seems to be pretty integral to the Warriors, Chris.
Hey, he went to a place that had the money to pay him at the time. It was a very smart business decision. But he didn't play hoops. He played business. You cannot knock the education that you get at Oregon State, Brandon, because he was smart enough to play business. Hell, even Drew Eubanks used Portland to get paid.
It might have been that Oregon State education. Could have been the fact that Dad's seen just about everything in his 20-some-odd years, too. So that helps.
Yes, that could have been it. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Courtside Monday. But don't go anywhere. Plenty of basketball talk coming up right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Welcome back into Courtside Monday. Chris Burkhardt here with you, talking a little bit of Trail Blazers basketball. 3 games left in the season. It is here. We are in the final week officially on the road at Utah, home against Golden State, home against the Lakers. And then it's all said and done on what was a pretty good 24-25. All things considered, Portland has a chance, if they win out, to grab 38 wins. If they lose out, to end the season at 35 and 47, somewhere in between there. But the fact that I think a lot of people, myself included, didn't think they would win more than 30 games. I had people laugh at me when I said I thought they were a 30-win team if everything went perfectly. Well, things have gone not so perfect, and they still managed 35 wins. And that's where we talk about the whole rebuild thing. Oh, the rebuild is failing. But is it? Because they got 35 wins, and a large chunk of those were in that second half of the year when it was the young guys playing pretty darn good basketball. So hopefully you can continue to build on that, continue to move forward, and continue to have something, to hold on to and wish for. I mean, if this team makes the moves that we've all talked about they need to make, right? Whether that, obviously, Cooper Flag would be great, but you need to probably go get some more savvy vets to put around them, just guys that you can run into your rotation. I think another just pure shooter would be really, really good. A guy that can, doesn't command much, but you can give the ball in his hand and he can go hit some shots for you. Some more versatility at the forward positions. Like, you can start putting that together. If you're healthy, it's a play-in team probably. Probably a play-in team. And again, that's what you're striving for, is just those incremental improvements. No one thought that you were going to rebuild a team and become a championship contender tomorrow by starting your rebuild today. I mean, go through your neighborhood. You just watch a house pop up, right? They come in, they pour the foundation, then they come up and they set up the walls, and then they start putting up the drywall, and then they do the flooring, right? The house doesn't just pop. You don't just go to bed and wake up like, whoa, there's a house next door. I knew they said they were going to build one, but whoa, that's crazy. Man, you got to piece it together, man. Okay, even a manufactured home is built piece by piece. It's just built off site. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what Joe Cronin's doing. He's building this thing a little piece by piece, putting it all together, having some fun with it. We're having fun with it because I thought this year was intriguing as all could be. Put it together, had some fun. There was ups, there was downs, but you all get it. We understood what was at hand. There's been some, a couple of head scratchers here and there. But overall, I thought the season's been incredible. And a big reason for that is the young guys, right? The young guys have been incredible. And one of those guys who we were talking about earlier, right, is Toumani Camara, man. And Toumani Camara has been arguably the Blazers MVP. Like, I think him and Denny Avdia are the two that you're talking about when you're talking. Well, there you go. Arguably, didn't mean to double audio you there, Brendan. That was my fault. You can turn my PC back on. I had one tab playing audio and it wasn't supposed to.
Burke, we love you so much. We got to play it twice.
Yeah, you son of a biscuit. You got me. But the thing is, they've been like the MVPs. And the biggest thing with Toumani has been the defense, man. The defense has been so good with him. And I'll say it again. I've said it all year long. He has been the most fun I've had watching a Blazer play defense since Wes was in town. It's pretty incredible how awesome he's been. And after that game against San Antonio, he had a chance to talk to the media. I want to hear what he had to say.
I will remind you thoughts on the game tonight, the way you guys performed and the way you guys executed tonight to get the win.
I think we stick to the game plan. I think there's a moment towards the fourth we kind of let down a little bit. But I think if we're looking at the whole game, our aggressiveness and the way we were able to handle pressure and communicate, share the ball, and play defense, make plays, I think it was a great game for us.
Did you assume more of a leadership role tonight with even more guys out?
Oh, yeah, I think it's something that I've been trying to do throughout the season, be a little bit more vocal. I think as a team, that's an emphasis that we're trying to do, talk to each other a little bit more, not only on the court but off the court, where we have timeouts or in the locker room, being able to talk about things. I feel like we're a very quiet team, and I feel like it's something that all of us need to get better at, and I think everybody's starting stepping up.
You had 4 3-pointers tonight. Are you pretty happy at this point with where your shot's at?
Yeah, I just got to keep shooting it. There's times where, you don't see the ball going for the first 3, first 4, and then it can be very, I don't know how to say the word, but you know what I'm saying, like, discouraging. So yeah, you just got to keep shooting. We're in the NBA, a lot of talent on the floor, so we know it can drop. It's just you got to fight with your mental. But I feel like, yeah, my shot keep improving. Yeah, something I feel like I still can improve a lot on. So we'll see.
And that is scary for the other teams in the NBA, right? Oh, my shot's improving, and it's something that I think I can keep improving on. And the thing is, that's almost exactly what he said last year, just slightly different, right? It was the whole, I want to improve my shot. I want to improve offensively. I don't want to give coach a reason to sub me out late in the games if you need to score. Basically, he did not want to be an offensive liability. We've seen defensive liabilities in this league forever, right? Okay, we need a defensive stop. We're going to pull that guy out, put our defensive stopper in. But we also occasionally see the offensive liability, right? The guy who's like, okay, it's a 2-point game. We need a 3. We're not playing for the tie. We're playing for the win. We need a 3. All right, sorry, guy. We're going to have to sub you out, put our next guy in. Better shooter. 2 doesn't want to be that. And that's what he said last year. And then this year, what happened? Pretty darn good 3-point shooter. He has shown so much improvement on that. So when you hear him talk to the media about like, yeah, like I want to keep improving. I want to keep getting better. I believe it. And I believe he can do it too. Because it wasn't just the 3-point shot. The 3-point shot is easy to look at because it's just so prominent in today's NBA. But with Tumani, it was also just the ferocity in which he played offensively. Like his ability to put the ball on the floor and attack the rim for an easy layup or a dunk, right? It was just more comfort within the offensive game. So the comfort level just led to just a more consistent shot. Because it was, I know where to be, how to be there, when to be there, right? And now I'm going to take the knowledge of that and put that together with getting my feet under me, working on my rhythm, working on my shot from the ground up. And now I'm going to start hitting that shot with consistency. I mean, when he's sitting in the corner and Scoot or Ant or Denny gives him the ball, last year it was almost like, now when he shoots, you're like, oh, he actually missed it. That's weird. It's a weird feeling. I love Tumani Kamara, man. Him and Denny, the 2 MVPs this year. Next courtside, though, we'll give out some awards because we'll be back next Monday with a postseason wrap-up, right? Have some fun. But also, like I said, we still got a couple games left. The Blazers will be back in action on Wednesday against the Utah Jazz. Tip-off is 6 p.m., which means I'll have game day for you at 4 o'clock. Thanks to everyone who called in. Thanks to everyone who chatted. Only one way to end it. As always, Rip City, I love you.